tensions have flared up at the Ad Hoc Committee after private investigator Paul O'Sullivan walked out of proceedings. For more, we cross live to SABC News Reporter Bulelani Phillip. Bulelani, a very good afternoon to you. You've been watching the live testimony which has been taking place. Of course, the viewers and myself too. Heated exchanges taking place there, an apology even taking place during proceedings, and now a complete walkout, much to the dissatisfaction of MPs.
Good afternoon to you, Mpo, and to the viewers at home. Of course, it's been an eventful morning. Paul O'Sullivan was meant to come and give his final stretch of his testimony, but in the end, he had heated exchanges between himself as well as members of the committee. At one stage, he was forced to apologize for a statement that he made in a television interview that was very vulgar towards members of the committee, as well as also calling some members of the committee crooks. But to talk on this and more, we're going to bring in now Kusela Diko, who's also a member of this committee. Of course, an eventful morning. In the end, Paul O'Sullivan walked out. Your impressions on that?
Thank you very much, Bulelani. Let me say, as the African National Congress, we are not surprised by the behavior of Mr. Paul O'Sullivan. Indeed, we are in disbelief that it happened. But even from the time we started engaging with him as this committee, he has shown utter contempt, utter disdain, no respect for Parliament, no respect for its rules, no respect for its members. And today, I think, was a culmination of that. You'll remember that we had to throw the rule book at him to even appear here. Now, his behavior, honestly and truly, borders on racism and white supremacy, where he thinks that he does not have to account to anybody. And it goes to the heart of the issues that we've been raising with him, to say, how have you infiltrated our criminal justice system? How do you extort senior generals of the SAPS? Why are you so embedded that you go around speaking about how you have the authority not only to consult presidents, but to also bring down national commissioners? So it's a continuation. What I'm glad about is the guidance that the chairperson has given in relation to this matter, where he says, let's seek legal advice. I can tell you that I know that the Powers, Privileges and Immunities Act of Parliament speaks to these matters. It defines disruptive behavior. It defines a member who acts, a member or even a non-member who acts in contempt of Parliament to the extent of disrupting its proceedings. Now, this is exactly what Mr. Paul O'Sullivan has done. He has hindered us from being able to complete our work. And I can promise you there's going to be consequences for that. Nobody, including Paul O'Sullivan, can undermine the authority of Parliament in the Republic.
For the purposes of our viewers, what are the kind of sanctions that he can be liable for under the Powers, Privileges and Immunities Act?
I think that is the legal advice that we're seeking. The Powers, Privileges and Immunities Act goes to the extent of defining what the offences are. And I think in consultation with legal services in the Office of the Speaker, we will look at what needs to be done in that case.
Let's go back to the arguments or the line of questioning this morning. There is a thread that seems to suggest that he is a foreign spy. As the ANC, do you pick up that, and do you have perhaps maybe evidence that he might have been a foreign spy?
Listen, we can't come to any conclusive views at this point in time. However, we also took that line of questioning with him. It's very strange that you would have somebody who's part of, I think it was military intelligence, but definitely foreign intelligence of the British government, suddenly feeling the need to come to South Africa because the climate is good and he believes that, he's a person of independent means. When you question how he first got into the South African police services as a reservist, you can tell that there's a lot of unanswered questions. I mean, we came across correspondence where you had members of the then National Party government vouching for him. And we all know that, whether it was the special branch, they were using people like Paul O'Sullivan in order to undermine the efforts towards liberation in this country. And the way that he has then within the system become such a key cog, he's nobody really, insofar as the South African Police Service is concerned. But the amount of power, influence that he wields, I know people like Mr. McBride hold him in very high esteem, but you question him in terms of the sources of his information. And I can tell you, it's only people with who are trained in intelligence who still in our view. I mean, Bulelani, I don't know if you remember, there was a question we asked him about writing to the CIA and writing to the MI6 about what was happening in the country, and we asked him what was his intention there. So is he still continuing to have ties with these foreign intelligence agencies? Obviously, he would have gone to deny that. I don't think anybody that we have seen, except for Mr. Brown Mokhotsi, comes out and says, I'm a spy.
Lastly, I'm out of time. He's got multiple passports. He's got a private aircraft. What if he skips the country?
Well, he said he was only back here for the purposes of appearing before the Ad Hoc Committee. I don't know if he's intending to come back. I've read in the media that he's already sold his properties, so he could possibly. But I can tell you, the long arm of the law does tend to follow you wherever you are, and he needs to know that. Well, he does know that, because just by threatening to issue summons to him, he did come back into the country.
All right, thank you so much. Kusela Diko is the ANC MP that is serving on this committee. I think I'm going to bring in Leanne now. Leanne Matthys from the EFF, who's been urging me to speak around this issue. Of course, Paul O'Sullivan walking out this afternoon. Your impressions as the EFF?
Well, it wasn't a walkout. We must call it what it is. It's contempt of Parliament, and that is an offence. And we do hope that the Speaker acts on this, not like how she ignored when he was insulting or sending threatening messages to witnesses. So he's at the airport now. So by now she should have sent her lawyers to court to file papers. So when he lands there in Joburg, if that's where he's landing, he must get arrested. We cannot be treated. It's not even about us as individual members of Parliament, but we are one of the three arms of government. The same man has come here and declared how he loves South Africa and declares and has given his life to fighting criminality, and then he just walked out from an institution that is one of the three arms of the state. So it must be acted on, and it must be acted on immediately. We cannot be waiting for 10 weeks or 10 years for Parliament to act on that. When he lands there in Joburg, he must be arrested.
As the EFF, do you also believe in this threat that has been continuing, that he is a spy?
I think the evidence before us speaks for itself. I mean, there's nothing that's been consistent about what he has said. What's most explosive, and what we were not able to get through quite in detail today, is all the documents we got via a whistleblower from Home Affairs, because initially the Director General said he has to do that whole process of PAIA, etc. So a whistleblower sent us all the documents that have been attached from when he applied for a work permit to his permanent residency. And when you see that, you can see a picture of a very, very different picture, even from the documents that we received from, but obviously those documents will be made available. But we don't know who this man is. There's nothing good about what he's done to this country. If anything, he did not come here to be an investor. He came here to make money in our country and try to capture our criminal justice system. And his position, he's no better than Brown Mokhotsi. He's just a white version of it. That's why we have people like Patriotic Alliance that are lick asses, literally, of whiteness. That's why they can call him a hero, but they couldn't call Brown Mokhotsi a hero for what he's claimed that he's done for this country.
All right, thank you so much, Leanne Matthys, EFF MP that is serving on this Ad Hoc Committee. Just looking ahead, up next is going to be former Acting National Police Commissioner, General Khomotso Phahlane, will be testifying after lunch.